Okay, so we start with the Aeneid, Book 1, lines 50 through 57, and this is where Juno basically goes visits Aeolus, the king of the winds, to go try to request his help because she's bitter that she can't persecute her enemies or the Trojans who offended her, because who offended her, like her stepdaughter or Minerva, who is the daughter of Zeus. So we start with Talia flammato secum dea corde volutans nimborum in patrium loca feta ferentibus austris aeolium vinet. So we start with our subject, which is dea, which is which it has volutons modifying it. So volutons is a PAP, and you can tell by the NS. And then you have Talia coming after that. So the god pondering such things in her inflamed heart. Sorry, um, with herself. The secum here is when it's also equivalent to cum se, with herself or with himself. And then so for the next part, dea is still going to be the subject, and we look for our main verb at the bottom because we know Latin likes to put our verbs at the end, but we have them in the beginning. So we have venet, she came, and patrium. It's going to be N2 here because it's N plus an accusative, patrium, into the land of rainstorms. And then we go down a place. Feta can be translated as pregnant with, but we're going to translate it as filled with here. I mean, you can do either, but it just sounds better when you say filled with. But if you want to be a little bit more poetic, you can say pregnant with. So a place filled with raging winds, another PAP right here. We can tell by the NT. So a place filled with raging winds, Aeolia, which is going to be the name of the place. So to just reiterate what I just said, the goddess, who's Juno, pondering such things in her inflamed heart with herself, came to into the land of rainstorms, a place filled with raging winds, Aeolia. And then next we have Rex Aeolus, that's the subject. So the king Aeolus, who's kind of like, who is the king of the winds. He's like a subordinate of Jupiter, the king of the gods, who's the king of like the sky. So the king Aeolus, it's going to be our subject, and then we're going to go try to find our main verb, and it's all the way down here. We have an arrow pointing to it. So premit, controlled. So the king of the gods, we're actually going to hold off from that. The king of the gods, here in the vast cave, which is kind of like the little line of it because these two are going together. Like you can see how they Virgil kind of uses the syntax in the sentence to make, when you connect the lines between the two words that are modifying each other, he makes a cave. So like right here, so the king Aeolus here in this vast cave, instead of like hic being this, if you look in your book, it has a macron over it. I couldn't add that here, but it has a macron over it, signifying that it's here rather than this. So the king Aeolus here in this cave, in this vast cave, and we go down to premit, which is going to be our main verb. Controls, controls, and then we look at luctantes. Luctantes is another PAP, and it means struggling, and so the struggling winds, and the and the roaring storms. And Virgil uses alliteration here. Lutantes went toast tempestusque sonorous to kind of give that shh sound of like the wind struggling. Because if we could have winds that were struggling, I guess that would be the noise that they make. So, and then we go down to Imperia. So it's like with his power. So the king of Aeolus here in this vast cave controls the struggling winds and the roaring storm with his power. And Ak is kind of a shortened form of Akque. So, and Frenat is going to be a next verb, and that means like restrains with chains and a prison. So he's talking about he restrains the basically the winds is implied here, the winds with chains and a prison. This is an example. Wincilius is as a syncopated forms because it actually means wincilius. So, and it's just the reason why syncopated is a work in hexameter, and Winclis at Carcere is a form of Hendiades because it could also be determined or translated as by means of the restraints of their prison. So just to reiterate what I said, the king Aeolus here in this vast cave controlled the raging winds and roaring storms with his power and restrained with chains and a prison. So the next part here, LA is going to be our main subject. So they, referring to the winds. We have another PAP with, you can tell right at the end, just going to make sure you guys remember that. It's going to be they being angry. Fremont is going to be another, our main verb here. Roared with a large murmur of the mountains around the prison. So you have that magno cum murmuring montis, kind of giving that and that the kind of trying another use of the alliteration that Virgil uses is just kind of give that moaning sound that the winds supposedly were making. And then we have Aeolus, the subject again. So Aeolus, tenons, which is another PAP, holding his scepter, sat on the high citadel, and tames the spirit and tames their spirits and calms their anger. So they're also referring to the wind's anger here because there's just a wild group of winds. And animos right here is this is another, the eros or the eri is a form of the poetic plural because in English we don't say angers, we say anger. So, but here you can use the poetic plural because in Latin we can say angers, but it would still be translated as anger. Okay, so that is my screencast, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you.